Hello, Stuka Joe here. If it looks a little funny, it is because I'm using my contour wide lens camera. This is not the camera I use for my video playthroughs. I'm using it so I can have both hands free to explain to you the situation at when I ended the full game report in turn 2 that I was filming. I had published turn 1. And while I was playing turn 2, I noticed that this Spanish army, commanded by Córdoba, was outside of the Spanish zone. Now, the Spanish zone is marked by this red line here that runs from now north to south, and is everything to the left here of the line is the Spanish zone. And the Spanish armies cannot move outside of the Spanish zone. So Córdoba violated this. He started in Brussels, had moved to Aachen, Mainz, Oppenheim, Mannheim, and up to here was fine. But then he moved to Würzburg and laying siege to Hanau. So that's when the screw-up came. And I noticed that when I was about to move, Cardinal Infantes' army is the only Spanish army that starts the game outside of the Spanish zone. But even his army has some restrictions. It has to move back into the Spanish zone by the end of the next turn after the turn he enters. And he had entered in turn 7, and that's why we have this marker here to remind us that Infante has to return to the Spanish zone at the end of turn 8. So that's why I decided to stop the game. Now, the game was interesting because the Swedish, from the beginning of the game, if you remember, had divided their forces. We had Gustavus here, and the other army, commanded by Banner, was up here, picked up units from Stralsund, and was fighting and actually eliminated the Imperial forces in Rostock, commanded by Savelli, and then moved south to Magdeburg. From there, moved to Cottbus, where the Imperial army under Wallenstein was stationed, defeated it. And the Imperial army, and what you see here in Jankau with Piccolomini, is the remnants of that. Wallenstein was killed in the battle. And then this army, by the time the Swedish army had defeated the Imperials here, Banner had died. So the Swedish moved back to Magdeburg and this way to Kassel, defeating Tilly, which was in Kassel, and that's why Tilly retreated here to Wetzlar. So the Swedish in these attacks had pushed back Tilly and the Imperial army, but Wallenstein is dead, and there is an event card that allows the Bavarians and Imperials to stack and attack together, but it requires that Wallenstein be dismissed or assassinated. So most probably that card could have been played in the third and last turn if drawn. So the game is very interesting because the Protestants rely exclusively on the Swedish, and the Swedish army, even though their units are strong, is fairly delicate in the sense that there's only 6 Swedish veteran units in the game. They receive no additional veteran units. They cannot replace them if they're destroyed. And furthermore, the best leader in the game, Gustavus Adolphus, with his 3 battle rating, has a leader loss rating of 7. That means that every time that he fights a field battle, either as an attacker or defender, there's a 30% chance he will not survive it. So the Protestant player has to use Gustavus sparingly, only in situations that are important. But the Swedish have other able commanders, such as Banner, and we used here the, what's his name, the other Swedish commander, I forget now, Horn, and Horn got killed. So they don't have a lot of leaders, and now the leaders that they have, for example, King is not very impressive, Leslie, no, not very impressive either. So the Swedish have good leaders, but few of them. So the Swedish have to push south, as historically they did, because all the points are in these areas here. And with these independent cities, Bavaria, and try to capture Bavaria, Bohemia and Saxony so that they can gain control of the majority of the electorates here. That would give them 2 points. And if they gain control of these 3 independent cities and all the electorates, it would be 5 points. But then, to do that, they have to enter the Spanish zone, and then they would have to deal with Córdoba and Cardinal Infante if he's there. So that was basically the situation when the game was stopped. I am going to start a new next week, another full scenario, intervention scenario, and I'm starting it next week because I ordered a new microphone that hopefully will improve the audio quality, and that's why I want to start it next week. So this is the reason why the game was stopped, and thanks for your support, and I'll have that video next week. Thanks for watching.